All right, so now for this next segment, we're going to talk about the edges. This is the foundation of all skating. The things I'm about to tell you about right now are things I wish I would have known when I first started skating. It would have probably helped out a lot more. Now, you may, if you're watching this, you may already know how to do a few things, right? You may know how to skate a little bit. But understanding exactly the mechanics of what you're doing, it changes the game. Now, the edges, that is the blueprint to skating. It is every single trick when you're trying to learn how to grind. It is every single position that you need to be just to go skating from A to B. All of those things that you're going to be able to learn all come with just this simple concept right here with the edges, right? Big shout out to Skate IA. And that is an organization that's helped get skating out there. That's where I got my license to as well, to be a professional teacher. And just want to give them a shout out for installing this into generations of skating. So we're going to keep doing our part and keep adding on to that here with the Be Free Blading Academy. These edges, right? Or the sides of the skate. Now, the first concept of this is going to help you get comfortable with the way that you are on the skates. The more that you get comfortable learning the edges of your skates, the more well-rounded you'll become, and then when it starts getting down to you doing the drills, you'll have an idea of exactly what your feet need to be and how the placements matter and how the flexes are all different, but they all matter for something else as well. So the first one is just the ready position. This is you just standing on the skates. If you were standing right now watching this on your skates and you're not moving, you've already done one thing. That is the balance. You keeping your waist standing up. You're not letting the weight of your skates move you back and forth. You're not all over the place. We're standing with all of our weights centered. Okay? That is one of the first edges. This is the ready position. This is the parallel position of the flex, where you're keeping your skates exactly the same. Now, they're not going to be too far wide out. They're not forward and back right now. They're just standing equally. Why is that important? For many reasons. The first one, the front side, that is the trick. This right here is the trick that I'm doing, whether it looks like I'm not doing the trick or not. But if I show you that doing it on the rail, it's the exact same thing. I'm stepping onto the rail, and I'm here doing the front side. Now that is just to show you exactly where they lead to. The parallel position, you are on the skate. You are not flexing whatsoever, okay? Now, the second one, this is called the outside edges. Now also, as you're doing these stretches, I want you to try to visualize yourself also squatting down and touching the side of your skates and coming back up. You're squatting down the side of your skates, you're touching the outside edges of your skate. This is the outside edges of the skate, okay? Now if you notice, I'm not bending over and touching my skates. What I'm doing, I'm squatting down low and I'm touching my skates and coming back up. This is the outside edges of the skate. What we're gonna do, we're gonna take our feet. We're gonna put our feet as close as possible, meaning where our insides are pretty much touching. What you're gonna do is take your feet and you'll take your pinky toes and you're going to push them onto the side. You're gonna basically bring those pinky toes and point them down. So as you're pointing those pinky toes down, you'll notice as soon as you point their pinky toes down, you create this flex, and it becomes inside the inside of your legs becomes this diamond shape. Now, the more that you flex and put on the side, you will start creating this diamond shape. But as you start pushing your hips downward into that squatting position, you'll notice that the triangle or the diamond, you'll notice that the diamond gets a lot bigger. That's because I'm putting more flex onto the squat. Now it's a combination of your ankles and then the squat. The squat gives you that knee flex as well, that'll get you that bend that you need. So the more that you get comfortable bending those toes down and then squatting and trying to see how low that you can go. The object of this is for you to get comfortable getting that outside edges to be on the ground. Now that takes time. That's going to be something that you're going to have to work on to be able to get your foot all the way down to the side. Now, as you get comfortable doing that, this stretch will help you start realizing that. Hold it for 5 seconds, bring it back up, the ready position. You're learning how to keep your body centered and you're not moving all over the place. You're trying to make sure that you're just going in this down motion. I'm keeping my hips straight. I'm keeping my shoulders over the skates, and I'm pushing down. Now you may ask, okay, well, this outside edge, what is the outside edge going to do? Now, as I'm getting closer, I'm taking my feet, I'm putting them in, and I'm taking my pinky toes and I'm pushing them down. So as I push my pinky toes downward, you'll see that diamond shape, right? So as I put that squatting motion in, the diamond gets bigger, the flex gets bigger. That's what you're trying to look for. You're trying to see the inside of your wheel. You're trying to see if you can get that boot to touch the floor a little bit. Now that's going to take time. That's going to take time for you to get that flex in, but the more you take the time to do that, you'll see the potential where it's going to lead to. Now, this right here is actual trick in skating and aggressive skating. This is called a cab driver, right? So cab driver is basically having one of my feet on the outside edge and the other foot's on the outside edge as well. And so I'm grinding on the outside edges of the skate. So that becomes a trick. So everything that we're doing are all tricks also in skating. So as I'm doing that, I'll be able to grind with my feet in that inside position. Now, another tip and secret about why it's so important to make sure you get that particular trick down, that's also all of your soul tricks. So the more you get comfortable being on those outside edges and you get in that squat down, if you're going to try to learn how to do a trick, so for instance, a soul grind, I'm going to take my right foot, since I do soul grinds with my left, meaning this foot's going to be on its outside edge and my right foot's going to come in front into the soul position. All of this is every single trick with the soul grind. Do you see that? Every trick goes from here to here to here to here. You notice that all these tricks that are all going to be something that you can put all your weight on. You'll learn that if the more that you put pressure on that foot, that's your focal point. That is your balance. Okay? So the more that you get comfortable with being on these outside edges, it will lead to all those tricks. And we're going to go through all that as the lessons go and progress. But I just want you to get your mind thinking about where it's going to be at. Okay? I want everything to be exactly how you are going to make it. All right? So that is the second, right? We went through the ready position, the parallel, meaning you have that squat, your shoulders over the skates. That is also a front side trick, right? Now we have the outside edges, right? You're bending down, touching the outside edge of your skate, bringing them closer in, and you're trying to get them close to touch. If you can get your wheels to touch and you get that bend down, that's perfect. That means you got it, okay? So those are two tricks. That's also the cab driver, right? Now, for the third one, we're going to talk about the inside edges of the skate, okay? That is the inside of the edges of the skate. We're not going to bend over and touch it, right? We're going to bend down and we're going to touch the inside of the skate, right? So that is the inside of the skate, inside edges. Now, to do inside edges skates, what you're going to do is take your feet maybe about a little bit further than your shoulder width apart. Now, the further that you have your feet out, you'll notice the flex is a lot more stronger depending on how far your feet are. What we're going to do is take our inside edges of our skate. We're going to place them about a little bit less than our wingspan. And what you're going to do is take your big toe, and you're going to point the big toes downward. So as I point my big toes downward, I instantly kind of get this little jolt within my knees. So now my knees are facing towards each other instead of far apart or the opposite direction. So once I drop my big toes down, my knees kind of come inward. Now, what I can do is kind of space it out a little bit and see how far I can get comfortable flexing on that inside edges. Now, remember, it's all about adding the two things, right? I'm adding my toes being bent down and also my hips and my waist to go down, getting that flex. That's the flex. It's the combination of your feet and down. So we'll go through all those particular little things in a little bit, but as you get comfortable getting that flex down, you'll start seeing that your body, your legs will start making this Y shape. So the more of a Y shape that you're making, that'll let you know right away that you're doing it correctly. You should be able to look over and see your logo of your wheels. You should be able to see your frames. The more that you get spaced out there, that's the more control, but you want to make sure you have it to where you don't let your feet, go into the splits, right? You want to make sure you're doing it far enough to where you can control it still, okay? So this is the inside edges of the skate. Know what this is? It's called a UFO, right? A UFO is when you go from your front sides is like this. The UFO is with the flex. You might see more of that as we go. And let me show you what it looks like on the rail, just so you can see why it's important. Now, if you notice, if my foot is parallel, I don't have the same control, right? So once I get my feet into this inside edge of my skate, I'm able to get the other foot in the inside skate. And this becomes my balance point. You notice how my feet became into that Y position, right? I'm in that Y position. That is this right here. So the more you get comfortable getting on these edges, it will start translating to your skating when whether it's you trying to do tricks or whether you're trying to just skate A to B. All of these tricks will also be something else later. I'm going to show you exactly what they do, okay? Now, we went through parallel, the ready position. We went from the outside edges, right? We went through the inside edges, getting that big toe down, getting that flex, okay? So I'm gonna do one from this side so you can see. I'm not parallel. My skate is, if you ever notice your skate being on its parallel side, that means you're not getting that flex in that ankle in the skate. So make sure your skates are, in between, not too tight and too loose so you can really feel that, okay? Now, the fourth one is called the corresponding edges, right? This is where one skate is going to be on the outside edge and the opposite skate is going to be on the inside edge, meaning they're going to correspond with each other. So in this one, we got one direction and then doing it the opposite direction. So what this does, is put your feet about shoulder width apart, and what you're going to first do is take one foot and drop the pinky toe, and the opposite foot you're going to drop into that knee. What you'll notice that you slowly get this little C shape within the body. You saw how I went from here to here? That is the flex within just my ankles doing the dropping of the toe and the pinky toe and the big toe. So as I drop my weight onto the flex, then I can add the squat. Then I can get the squat and then get the actual real flex. You notice how the C shape went from here to now being more dramatic, more of a C shape, depending on which direction I'm going. These are also tricks. This is a back rail if I'm going this way. This is a back farfignugan if I'm going this way, right? Now if I switch sides and correspond with the opposite side, now I'm taking my right side on the outside edge and the inside edge of this skate on the left, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to drop it to the side, and then I'm going to add that C shape. What I'm doing is, even though my hips are turning this way, I'm still keeping my upper body centered over the top. Imagining if I'm grinding this in this direction, or if I'm grinding in this direction. You need to also pay attention to which way your hips are moving. So when you're in these positions, practice moving around, okay? All these ones, the ones that you can get lower on, that will help you get more control. These are all great stretches, great workouts, and also great shortcuts to every single skating trick, okay? So the corresponding edges, that is left and right. Those are both tricks going this way and that way. You'll be able to be conscious and confident about your weight distribution and also knowing where the flex is at. Knowing that it's the squatting motion. Knowing that it's your shoulders have everything to do with it. Remember, your whole body is a unit. So you have to correspond everything with it. If one side's off, that means the lower side's going to be off. If the bottom's off, the upside's going to be. So take your time. Balance it out. Do not be in a rush. It's not about how fast you can do it. It's about how well you can do it. The control, that's what matters, okay? So take your time with the flexes. If you can stall it on the ground, you will be able to stall it on the rail when it's time. So the more you get it down here, the blueprint, it won't be as intimidating when it is time for you to start skating a P-rail, okay? So that is the basis of all of the stretches. Going from the ready position to the outside edges, to the inside edges, to the corresponding edges. That is every shortcut with skating besides going front and back, okay? So again, I'll show you what that looks like on the rail. So I'm going to start with first doing the inside edges, to parallel, to UFO, corresponding, okay? That is how you want to get it down to the point where you can understand exactly where the flexes are. That'll give you the control that you're looking for. Okay? So for homework, I want you to try to do this. Count to 5. If you notice yourself moving all out of the place, I want you to focus on trying to stay calm. Realize your breathing, what you're doing. You're trying to hold it like if you were going to do something for a long time. You're trying to do it as if you're riding it for a long time. You're not trying to do it really quick and then go through the next. So take your time with the stretch. Try to do each stretch for 5 seconds, each one. Go through them. You get it down, start trying to make a routine before you start skating. Add this routine in before you start going out rolling around if you are doing that. So try to make sure you get these stretches in. Whether it's before you skate, you're just on the side doing your stretches. All of these stretches are going to help you because they're every single trick. We're going to keep seeing that, and the more that you start seeing the classes and going through it, it'll start clicking, okay? Just got to put that effort in.